Hello guys, welcome to NEHMTECH, and this is part 1 on Python. Remember, it is still data science series, but we are beginning with the Python, and Python is also a bit lengthy, so I'll be doing it in parts instead of having a single video that has everything, so that we may go step by step. But before we begin, I urge you kindly to subscribe to the channel. This is to support me, and also you can like so that YouTube may recommend it to other viewers just like you. And then also you can share it to your friends so that someone else will also learn tech. Remember, the future is now in tech, as you can tell. Now, without further ado, let's begin by first understanding what is Python. Python is a programming language, and first of all, it's a very popular programming language, and it can be applied in a lot of fields. Apart from this data science that we are discussing on or in machine learning, it can also be used in the web development, especially in the server side, with frameworks like Django or a Flask. It can also be used on software development. It can also be used to perform complex mathematics. It can be used in system scripting. It can be applied in many fields. So, to do anything with Python, you need to first of all have Python in your system. How do you check if you have Python? In most cases, it will come with the operating system, but sometimes it may not. So if you do not have Python, what you do, you can open the command line interface. A command line tool is a tool where you can write like commands, commands. And one of them is on Windows, it's like a PowerShell or a command prompt or a terminal or any other command line like even git bash or conda for anaconda. Any command line tool, it is fine. So in this case, let me use command prompt. Just go to the search. If you are on Windows, go to the search and then search for command prompt, CMD, command prompt, and then it will pop up. Then I just open it. You'll have something similar to this. Also, remember, PowerShell can also work, but my favorite is this command prompt on Windows. And then what you do, what you want to do is to check Python if you have it. So you type Python, just type there Python dash dash version. So it's going to display the version of Python that I have in this system, and you can see by the time we are doing the video it is 3.12.4. so this is the version that we have. So if you do not have Python, if it tells you like the command is not available or Python is not available, what you want to do is go to the browser and then search for python.org, python.org, and then navigate to the downloads tab. Navigate to the downloads tab, then download for your operating system. You can see it has detected that mine is Windows. That's why it is displaying here to download the latest version for Windows. But you can install for Linux, you can install for Mac OS or any other operating system. So for me, I already have it. Once you click on the install, once you download and you install, it will come with a package manager called PIP. PIP is a very powerful package manager that we can use to install other packages. So once you have Python, then we are good now to go. So the next thing that we need to have is the notebook or a code editor. Remember, Python commands, you don't write them on Word. We have like some specific integrated development environment or a shortened with IDE where you write the Python programs. And one of them, the powerful one, is Visual Studio Code. You can have PyCharm. You can have any other command line interface, but not command line interface, basically the code editor. But for this data science series, I'll be using the notebook. I'll be using the Jupyter notebook because this one is very nice and interactive when you deal with data science. So how do you install a notebook? So what you do, just type pip. I said that when you install Python, it will come with the package manager called pip. So you just type pip install a notebook, a pip install notebook. Then it's going to install the notebook here. In this operating system in the global level, pip install notebook. When you hit enter, then it's going to install Jupyter Notebook. Remember, for me, I already have it on my operating system, so it's going to tell me that requirement already satisfied. By the way, remember that it uses internet, so make sure that you have the internet connection for it to work well. So once you have installed, then the next thing you want to do is to create like a directory for your project. Like in this case, I'll create here another notebook, another folder called data science. Let me just call it science data science series data science series. And so if you are on Windows, if you want to open quickly the notebook, you can open the folder, double click, and make sure that the folder is opened. Then here at the top, you can highlight. You can just remove this part. First of all, you click here, then it's going to highlight everything. If it doesn't highlight, just go there and then uh, highlight everything, then delete. Then I just type there Jupyter, Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook. Just type Jupyter Notebook. This is the spelling for Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter space notebook, like that. And then hit enter. Then it's going to open the notebook on the browser, on your default browser. So it's going to take some few seconds. Then it's going to open on the, yeah, you can see now it has opened. It has opened on this browser, default browser, the Jupyter Notebook. But I want to show you also how you can install it. Like you can see now, I can do it. I can click here and I create here a new notebook. But let me show you, for example, if you are on a different operating system, assuming that you're using a different operating system, and then for example, let's assume you're using Bash. Let's assume you're using Git Bash. What you'll want to do is to cd to where your project is. So like mine, it is at the desktop, but also in the desktop we have other folder. By there you can do ls to list all the directories that you have in that desktop. You can see I have a data science series here. So what I'll do, I'll copy this part. Then I'll type there cd, then I'll paste, I'll paste it there. Remember, it should be in quotes because it's a multi-word. You can see it is data space science series space series. So it is a multi-word. Yeah, it is a multi-word. So you need to put them in the quote to show that it is a string, like it is one word. If you just split like a CD then a data science, it won't cd to that directory. So this case, is going to cd me. You can see now I'm at that directory. Then here you can just type Jupyter Notebook. So you just type Jupyter Notebook, then it's going to open the Jupyter Notebook in your default browser the same way it has done this way here. So it's going to open Jupyter Notebook. So I've shown you two ways on how you can open on the Windows. Like I to just highlight the path, then I type there Jupyter Notebook, then it's going to open, or to cd to that directory, then it's going to open as well. So once it has opened, then the thing that I want us to do is to create now a new notebook. So to create a new notebook, you click here on the new. You click here on the new, and then there's this first option called Python 3. By the time we are doing the video, it is Python 3. IPyKernel So you click on this one, and then it's going to open here a new Jupyter notebook, and then you can rename. Like for example, on my case, let me call it Python, a series, Python series. And then when you rename, you can see here at the top it is renamed. Then when you go here, you will see that it is also renamed. On home, you can see it is renamed. So now I want us to begin now to understand like the Python syntax. Python is quite easy to use, and it's very easy because the syntax in Python, it is just like it is similar to the English language. Remember, all the interfaces here, we'll discuss them as we move on, but I'll be showing you what we are using at the moment. Like wherever we want to use something, that's when I'll be showing you, because I don't want to learn the notebook at the moment, but how it is used. So for example, if you want to execute something, like let's say you want to print print hello world. Remember, hello world is a string. Any character is a string. So any word, character, or anything, it is defined as a string. So you need to put them in quote. Like for example, let's say hello world. We'll discuss the strings in details later. Hello world. So when you type here hello world, you can click on this run button. You can see the shortcut. When I hover on it, it displays run this cell and advance. Then you can see in brackets the shortcut is shift plus enter. So that's the shortcut to run. So you can see, you can simply tell like a print is something to be outputted, like to get an output, the output of something. So it is something somehow, readable or understandable. When you say print, then you can see here hello world. So someone can easily know that this command or this statement is going to print or to output this hello world. So we can see now it is displaying the hello world. So it is very beginner friendly, like a Python. Now, if you wanted to check the version of Python or of Python via the notebook, you saw the other time we were using Python dash version on the command line. So you can see it is displaying now the command, like at the version. But if you wanted to use it here, but there's something that you need to note. If you open the notebook, don't close this, because now this is like the environment that this notebook is running from. So don't close this command line, this command line that has opened the notebook. Remember not to close it. But this one I'm not using it, so don't close it. And then so something that I was talking about, like for example, if you wanted to print the version on this notebook, so here you'll say print, and then first of all you need to import here another module. We shall talk about modules later, but you can simply import sys, and then here you can say sys dot version. Then it's going to display here the version 3.14 by the time we are doing the video. So this is how you can check it on the command line. Now the interesting part now is about the nature of Python. Python is sensitive to cases, like it is case sensitive. Like for example, if you say print, okay, let me use a different cell. If you say, for example, print hello world, you can see now it is in small case. But now if I change it to capital, like say print, but it is in capital, then you can see it's going to give me an error that print it is not defined. So it is very sensitive to cases. So, or another thing I'll tell you later is about the indentation. We know, for example, if you want to use an if statement, or maybe a conditional statement. For example, let's say if 4 is greater than 2, then a colon, let's say print 4 is greater than 2. 4 is greater than 2. Then for strings, we'll talk about the strings later, but at the strings you need to have the quote there at the end. Like you need to wrap everything inside a quote, either a single or a double quote. We'll talk about the strings later. So you can see this one is going to work, but now when I remove this indentation here, the indentation is the space between the margin, between this end and the first character that you begin to type. So this is what we call the indentation. So if you remove the indentation there, then it's going to give you an error that expected an intended block after if statement. So it expects, like for example, if you're using an if statement, then the second line or anything that falls inside the if should have a space or the indentation. Remember, it can apply on the classes, functions, or methods. So the number of indentation doesn't matter, it can be 1. So if you just say 1 here, is going to work. You can see it works. If you increase to 2, it's going to work. If you increase to 3 is going, 3 is going to work still. And but what is recommended, it is 4 white spaces. So 4 white spaces is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is fine. What is recommended? Or you can simply use tab. When you click on tab on your keyboard, then it's going to create that 4 white spaces. So this way it can work well. So this is how you this is like how Python is used. So it is very sensitive to indentation, and also it is case sensitive. Now we have other things called variables. Variables, these are like a containers for storing data values. So like for example, let's say we have a variable called x, and that we assign a value to it to be. Remember, when you use an equal operator in Python, you are not equating x to 20. You are just assigning this value 20 to the variable x. So this x is going to be a container for storing the value 20. So when we say print here x, this x is going to store this 20, and then the output is going to be 20. So also with the variables, whenever you're using the variables, it is, I told you earlier, it is sensitive to cases. So if I use here, this is a small x, then if I try to use here capital X, it's not going to work because Python is case sensitive. So you need to use the same cases, and also you make sure that you're good, you check the spelling. And then something that you realize about Python, uh, it doesn't like you don't have to define for example, if you're using other languages like a Java, or you're using JavaScript or a C++ or any other languages, in most cases you'll have to define, for example, variable type, the type of a variable that you want to use. For example, if it is a var, like you have to use the keyword, for example, var, or const to define a constant variable, or a let, and so forth. But now in Python, a variable is created as soon as you assign a value to it. You don't have to define it this way, like a var and a let and so forth. So this is how Python works. And then something in a nutshell is about the comments. Sometimes you might be collaborating with other people, other developers, and you don't want, like, you want to write something which you won't be executed, like something like a statement to show that this code you are trying to create a variable, for example, 20. So for example, let's now to create a comment in Python, you begin with a hash, sorry, you begin with hash, like that, hash. Then let me say this is a comment. So this comment won't be executed. Like you can see at the moment when I try to okay, let me first of all run. You can see there's nothing that happens. But now if I remove this, comment that hash, then you can see it is now defining an error here, syntax error. But now if you add in here a hash, then Python is going to ignore this statement, and it's going to tell this one is a comment. Now remember, I'm just telling you how to use a few comments, like a few lines of code to display your code. But now, for example, you'll be writing like many lines of code. You'll be writing many lines of code, and you want like people to understand your code easily. So you might be writing something such that people will just know that this code you are trying to write a program, um, or you are trying to write something, to solve a particular problem. So you'll be writing something that won't be executed, but it will help you. For example, if you are collaborating with other people, to know that this part you are writing this stuff. So it is very helpful sometimes. So Python is sensitive to cases. I don't know if I have a project here so that I can show you how Python it is. Let me see. Let me open a project here so that you can understand what I'm talking about the comments. Chatbot assistant. Let me try this. CMD. Let me show you something here, especially on Python. Let me allow it to open so that I can show you something here. Backend. And let it first of all finish to activate extensions and that stuff, so that but I think it can. Now you can see in a real world scenario, you'll be writing like many lines of code. But now you can see with this code, someone can't easily understand what your code is going to do unless they have gone through the code line by line. But now, I don't know if I have something to. So now you can see, for example, this part I type here a comment called update the existing user underscore message underscore object with the response. So someone can easily understand that from the OpenAI, this code is going to update the existing user message object, and so forth. So it is quite helpful. Though I didn't use comments here very well, but you understand the use case. So that's how Python comments are used. So guys, basically this was just an intro to Python, but the next episode, the next class, I'll talk about the variables in details. I'll also talk about the operators in Python, and also how you can do something with Python. We shall try to advance in our next lesson. So this was lesson 1, and guys, make sure that you practice on this one. And let me give you an assignment. Um, so once you've configured everything, like you've downloaded Python, you've installed the notebook, and then everything is working, I want you to write a program. Write a program that prints Python is awesome. Let me make it a comment. I write a program that prints Python is awesome. Python is awesome. Then you can submit it to info at NEHMTECH.com. Submit it at info at NEHMTECH.com. Also, you can also post it on your Twitter handle. I want you guys to create the Twitter handles, and I want you to submit. And then the tags that we'll be using is a hashtag NEHMTECH, and then a hashtag. Make sure that you use these two hashtags. First of all, NEHMTECH, then another one is Python. Use these two hashtags. Like a submit, post your submission on your Twitter handle, but make sure that you're using this tag NEHMTECH and Python. And Python, I'll go through all those posts, and then I'll be commenting on each and every post that you've done. And guys, let's meet in our next lesson. Please consider subscribing once again, like and share it to your friends. Until next time, this is Nehemiah. Goodbye.